In our last video, we went from this form where we were able to open up a form, we get a blank text box, we put in a value, and then when we click submit, that text value was put into our label. So we're going to add that second component on now, where if I click on edit, this label data will come into my property form, or form 2, and we'll spell it correctly. Now I'll be able to hit submit, and then the correct data was, the data was able to be edited. So we're going to add this component on, this edit button, and transfer the label to the text field. All right, so let's put that into action. Pretty much what we're doing is just reversing what we've already done. We have set up a public property here in our form, that second form, the form property, and it is giving us the ability, sort of the middleman between our form property and our main form, because remember, the controls that are within each of these forms are private and only available to that form. And so what we'll do then is, I guess we're going to need our edit button, so let's start with that. Form toolbox, and we'll pull over a button. Close out that, move this around a little bit, make that a little bit more readable. Perfect. And then we'll go to, we'll call this button edit, and then we'll go down to the text and change that to edit. All right, so when we double click on edit, then we have to put some magic. So let's go ahead and double click on edit, and we have this button edit click event. All right, so again, similar to what we did before, we need to instantiate a new object of that form property. So form property, my form equals new form property. All right, so now that I have created an object, I have access to the public methods. There we go. And so what I'm going to do is pretty easily is just set full name, then my form dot full name, that public property of called full name, equal to the label text. All right, and so from there, it's pretty much the same thing as we've done up here when we did the button open, where we create a new dialog result, put that, and then open up the show dialog. Remember, show dialog is the method that's going to return the data from our form, and we set up those buttons so that, just verify, we set up these buttons with dialog result property of OK and cancel. We did that in the last video, so that the data is being returned, the dialog is being returned with the data in this case being our public property. So this all stays the same. So I'm going to add that here so that we're getting the value. That all should be the same. Looks like I forgot the dialog result, so let me add that in here. Okay, so the only piece of the puzzle we're missing now is, now that we've sent data to the middleman, we've sent data to that public property, full name. When this form loads, we have to take that full name and update the text box. So if I click on the form itself, anywhere on that form, double click on it, I should then get the load event. There we go. So form property, on the load event, we're going to take whatever was in full name and put it into our text box. So we had a text box full name dot text, and we're going to assign that to whatever now was sent over to full name. And I think the only other addition to that, we might double check to make sure that full name has a value in it. Full name does not equal to empty string. In other words, nothing was actually set yet. Then we can, and then and only then should you update the text box. So pretty much that should be everything. So now that we run this, let's go ahead and Shift Control B just to make sure I don't have any build errors. That's looking good. So I should now be able to run this. And let's see. So if I click on edit, label 1 should get put into the text box. It did. And then the code's still in place for when we submitted. So now I can change that to my name and then click on submit, and it gets updated. And the open button, again, that's what we did in the last video, just pulls up a blank label or text box, and then I'll put in another name. Maybe I'll put in Kalani and hit submit, and that gets put in. So just adding on the little extra bit of the edit. We're again utilizing that public, the public method full name. We were able to transfer that data back and forth, and making sure again to keep that form open until we utilize the data. Otherwise the data goes away. So that is this missing piece of that puzzle.